Hello friends, welcome to another Magic Monday. Today we are looking at a deck called Basic Beach. You can figure that one out yourself. With the commander of Hamza, Guardian of Arashin. 6 mana for a 5/5 uncommon. That was the main goal of this deck. Uncommon commander. Costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. Creature spells you cast costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. So you can already tell what the theme is going to be. A lot of creatures with 1/1 counters to cheat out big stuff. 35 creatures, 24 non-creatures. If you're going to remake this deck, I would say maybe make the creature count closer to 40, but this is what I went with. Very heavy in the green, with 42 of the 100 cards, average mana cost of 3.3, which is totally fine because we reduced the cost. So of those 35 creatures, we have a big assortment. Like the most dominant type is Elf and Druid. Some of those are Elf Druids, so whatever. 6 instants, 4 sorceries, 4 artifacts, 12 enchantments, 1 planeswalker, and 40 lands. So as I said, we're getting a lot of little creatures with 1/1 counters on it, so we could cheat out big stuff. What kind of stuff are we cheating out? We'll get to that in a minute. First, we've got this guy. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life and get an energy counter. Whenever you pay 3 energy, you may put 2 1/1 counters and a flying counter on target attacking creature. So there's one way to get 1/1 counters on stuff. Monk of the Open Hand gets a 1/1 counter when you cast your second spell in a turn. This thing just enters with a 1/1 counter if you control a permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Elvish Mystic just for the mana. Gift of the Viper puts a 1/1 counter and some other stuff on a creature and untaps it. This card for a common is ridiculously OP. Double the counters. Well, not quite, but that many plus 1. With Hardened Scales. Horrific Assault is some removal. Llanowar Elves is the same thing as Mystic. Pelt Collector gets 1/1 counters when bigger stuff enters the battlefield. Put a 1/1 counter. Literally enters with a 1/1 counter. Ajani's Pridemate when you gain life. This guy, whenever you put a 1/1 counter on it, you draw a card once per turn, but still pretty cool. This one, we can pay 2 mana when it enters the battlefield, and it gets a 1/1 counter on it. Or it actually gets a Valor counter, and then creatures get bigger for each Valor counter. So it's just a good pump card. Lion Sash gets 1/1 counters by exiling stuff. This one just puts a counter on stuff. So you get the idea here. Whenever you gain life, get a counter. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, put a counter. You get the point. I don't want to drone on about it. Gala Greeters is great in this because you're making 1/1 counters and treasure tokens, and it's just great. But anyway, that's kind of the idea. We have some stuff to double it, like Ozolith, which doubles the one. No, this one also doesn't double. It's that many plus 1. Just a lot of times I'm putting on 1, so it's just naturally doubled. I hate this card. You know I hate this card, but it's in here because it makes 1/1 counters and makes our stuff cheaper. This one actually doubles the 1/1 counters that you put on stuff. This one is that many plus 1 as well. Love this in the deck because if the creature is under power 3 when it enters the battlefield, you put 1/1 counters on it right off the bat. Trostani, the 3 Whispers, can just pump stuff. It's a versatile card. Chalet gives them all hexproof, and we can put 1/1 counters on everything. Path of Discovery lets us explore, potentially making it a 1/1 counter. Radagast lets us find creatures faster. If you're going to remake this deck, but you want it to be better, put this as the commander. I wanted an uncommon commander, so I put that card there. But this legendary Cat Noble, fantastic card. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. And as an enchantment, at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and then untap them. Cool, 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 cool. Bunch of cool stuff. And then what are we cheating out? Elder Gargaroth. Railway Brawler is a great card to cheat out and also to just have in play because it gets X 1/1 counters on creature. When a different creature enters the battlefield, put X 1/1 counters on it, where X is its power. That's awesome. Vornaclex, just cuz. Here's our 1 commander. For +2, gain 2 life, put 2 1/1 counters on up to 1 target creature. Creatures you control with 1/1 counters on them have base power and toughness 4/4, have flying and are angels in addition to their other types. In some cases, this is good, and in some cases, this is bad, because it will make some creatures weaker, but it will give them flying. So, whatever. Vorticlex to double those counters. And here's a good card to cheat out. So if we have 3 creatures with 1/1 counters on it, this costs 3 less. So instead of 7, it's 4. Craterhoof Behemoth, which I generally don't put in, but we can cheat so much by putting 1/1 counters on stuff. Skullspore Nexus, in case there's a board wipe or something like that, we can get a bunch of token creatures out. This will have creatures enter the battlefield with a 1/1 counter, and we draw a card. Everybody knows what Great Henge is at this point. Tarask, which I still feel like should be a bigger creature than a 10/10, but this is really easy to get out into play fairly early into the game, just because of the 1/1 counter mechanic of Hamza. And the enormous Impervious Great Worm, which not only will get cheaper with 1/1 counters, but it also has Convoke, so we can get this out super early sometimes for a 16/16 with Indestructible. Crazy. And then lands. So basically that's the whole deck, guys. It's just about getting lots of little creatures out. We got some removal like Rabid Bite and Return to Nature. We've got Roaring Earth here just to add 1/1 counters again. In Search of Greatness could probably go and get put in with another smaller creature just to bump some more. But what can I say? It's a basic beach deck. If you enjoy this episode, you know what to do. It's YouTube. As always, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. Let's get to some games.